Sailors set upon the sea, little boat with sails down, paddling so dutifully, knowing not where you're bound. Wouldn't you like to find a way to have all the power of peace today? Wouldn't you like to be able to say nothing's better than this? Nothing's better than this. Sailors set upon the sea, mighty ship with crew around, struggling internally, never let your guard down. Wouldn't you like to find a way to have all the power of peace today? Wouldn't you like to be able to say nothing's better than this? Nothing's better than this. Sailors set upon the sea, any vessel, any town, floating on the mystery, not a worry to be found. Wouldn't you like to find a way to have all the power of peace today? Wouldn't you like to be able to say nothing's better than this? Nothing's better than this.
Rest your troubled mind, forget about your scars, and I won't think of mine. And the full moon on the rise is calling us to part. You will travel safely if you listen to your heart. You got to listen to your heart, listen to your heart. You will travel safely if you listen to your heart. If the messenger is angry and the birds refuse to sing, and everyone is talking but no one hears a thing, if they tell you that you're lost and there's heartache in the cars, you won't be led astray if you listen to your heart. Yeah, listen to your heart, listen to your heart. You won't be led astray if you listen to your heart. You got to listen to your heart, listen to your heart. You will travel safely if you listen to your heart. Have got the gold, and the people won't stop dancing while these fires burn in Rome. There's a brakeman with a lantern, he's waving from a train. So come on, get on board, you can't go back from where you came. Now faith is all there is, like it was at the start. You will hear that train if you listen to your heart. You got to listen to your heart, listen to your heart. You will hear that train if you listen to your heart. Yeah, listen to your heart, listen to your heart. You won't be led astray if you listen to your heart. Yeah, listen to your heart, listen to your heart. You will travel safely if you listen to your heart.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us here at All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, Shreveport, Sunday morning. I hope you're doing okay. Love to hear from you. Wish I could see your faces. miss every one of you, except, of course, maybe the ones I don't know yet to miss, but I will miss you too. This is a congregation built on covenant, not creed. We come together around our promises for how we're going to be together and how we're going to try to be in the world, try to live into the world. To that end, whoever you are, whatever your age, your race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be here with us, you're welcome. Treating those with differing paths and opinions with respect, trying to understand one another, is our covenant and our challenge. It's not an easy thing to do, but hopefully this is a laboratory where we learn how to do that better and carry it into the world, which needs that kind of communication and compassion more and more, it would seem. We front load the services with a little bit of information, and so I am going to pass our announcements to our former board president, Bennett Upton.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Barbara. That was a very soothing transition. And so I have a couple of things to talk about today, mostly our August Volunteer of the Month and our giveaway the plate recipient. So for August, we have a list of people: Susan Yellett, John Yellett, Neil Normand, Alice Normand, Judith Cantil, Bob Jordan, Susan Caldwell, Ava Kate, Jennifer Russell, Barbara Jarrell, Pamela Carlisle, and Bethany Sorky, I believe is the whole list, although it was quite the list of all of the folks who've been helping out with the Louisiana Assistance for Immigrants in Detention, and driving, like so many people driving around, so many people buying food, delivering food, cooking food, helping people out with numerous little tasks, just down to even getting cell phones working and things like that. So that group of people has been doing a tremendous amount of work as we've seen a very chaotic release of immigrants from detention over the last couple of months. So if you see those folks, then let them know. Thank you. Also for August, we have our giveaway the plate recipient, which is the YWCA Dialogue on Race in memoriam for Thomas Ratcliffe, who is who was a member of our church, and his father and his family have been deeply connected with our church for a long time too. And I would also like to try and I'm going to throw in there our upcoming Volunteer of the Month for the month of September is Bob Jordan. He's been doing a ton of work for the immigrants being released from detention, which he was part of the list from last month, if you didn't notice that. But also he's been very willing to help out whenever anybody needs any help from inside of the congregation. He's been doing a ton of work for folks in that kind of a situation, but also he's been teaching ESL for years. He does that just in his spare time. Bob's great, so tell him thank you. He's our Volunteer of the Month. And giveaway the plate for September is going to be Northern Louisiana Interfaith, that engages in a lot of political action. We're involved with them and we support them. And they've done a number of really great things. They, like, for example, they got a $5.2 million increase in our school's budget for Caddo Parish schools by taxes on SWEPCO and Calumet and organizations like that, which, great, pay your taxes. Anyway, that's all of the announcements that I had for the day. You can join me for coffee hour after the service, and I will hand that over to Susan Caldwell. Thank you.
that's a snippet of one of my favorites of Barbara's songs. So thank you for that introduction. I am. I don't have too much to add, actually, except that I'm hoping that Bennett included himself in that list of people that are helping with the immigrants, because he's been also doing a ton of work. And I want to also second the nomination or the selection of Bob Jordan as Volunteer of the Month for next month, because I just got to hear him play music and sing at Church for the Highlands for the Highland Blessing Dinner the other night, which was wonderful. And so, in addition to everything else he does, he's been playing music with some guys from over there and having a good time with that, I think, and it was really nice. So thank you, Bob. And children's religious education, as I've said, will resume on or around September 12th, depending on how we kind of set up the schedule, and I will be saying more about that in the religious education group and kind of trying to get some people together. It looks like we're, at least to start out, going to be on Zoom again for at least a little while, but we will be talking more about that very soon. And Bennett also mentioned North Louisiana Interfaith, which will be next month's Give Away the Plate recipient. And of course, Interfaith is part of Together Louisiana, a statewide organization, which has now every 2 weeks some meetings called Rapid Response. And there's a group that's been attending these meetings, and some of those are going to be seminars now. And there's going to be one, we just did Adult RE this morning, Adult Religious Education, on environmental racism. And the seminar this week, which will be Thursday morning, they're usually on Monday, but it's postponed until Thursday because of the storm. And Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m., there will be a seminar on air quality monitoring and how we might be able to get a better system for that in the state of Louisiana. The technology exists. And so we're going to hear from some experts on that, on how we might organize to make that happen. So I believe that is what I have today. I do encourage you to join us also for Adult Religious Education as we continue our 8th Principle series. We are right now focused on environmental racism, and all are welcome. That's at 9 a.m. Sunday mornings, and the link goes out in your email each week. Thanks.
Thank you both. I really appreciate y'all keeping us informed. If there are things that you would like that have to do with church business that we are leaving out at any point, if you'd make a point of that in the chat, or what do you call that on Facebook? Is it a chat also? Okay. If you'd let us know there, then we'll try not to be so unaware of it. We are at the last week of the month. Is there a food drive this month? I mean, or is that on hold till we get some of the, I think some of our people are out of town. Susan, did you have some more information about that?
I don't yet. That would be next Sunday, but I will, yeah, that's a holiday weekend, so I'm not sure how that will affect it. We will find all of that out and get the information out to you.
Okay, thank you. It just occurred to me, timing-wise. So we're here together right now. Let's actually try to feel one another in this world. Relax for a minute and catch a couple of breaths easily. Spirit of life and love, we've gathered here in search of answers to hard questions. We've come in search of understanding and in search of community. We've come in search of hope and healing. Let this be a place not only of searching, but of discovery. Let this be a place of learning, not just learning, but of wisdom. Let this be a place where healing fosters giving and hope fosters service. This is our prayer, that we may create here a circle of love, ever expanding, ever growing, as we seek to know the source of our being. Amen and blessed be. I'd like to invite Ashford McLean to lead the first part of our chalice lighting this morning. Ash?
Hi. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other.
Thanks, Ash. The air conditioner gets kind of tricky when we have a wooden chalice. This is from Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. In the light of this community, let us hold close those in South Louisiana as once again things beyond our control change lives. Let us hold close those in Afghanistan and who are frontline workers in hospitals as they are doing all they can to save lives. Let us hold close those who are fighting for freedom throughout our country, our government, and the world. May all that would perpetuate darkness find its way to light. May this flame remind us ever to live out our dreams of compassion as we live into the visions we hold for goodness made fair. I'd like to invite back our former board president, our immediate past board president, Bennett Upton, to lead the unison affirmation, and I encourage you to say it with us, if you will, please. Rise in body or spirit.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Those of you who have been around for a while will recognize this song. I hope I've tried to put it close to your key, but keep it in mind. So it's not complicated. So by the second or third verse, if you don't know it, you may be able to join in. All over the world, people need something to carry them and something to believe. All over the world with different claims, people seek the mystery and call it different names. Founders of traditions tried to ease the pain, live into the answers. The questions stay the same. So in time, people go following the teachings they best come to know. So in time, paths divide. It's hard for people not to judge and pick a side. Founders of traditions try to ease the pain, live into the answers. The questions stay the same. Why is life as it is? How did this all happen? What comes after this? Faith and works, heart and soul. Many are the ways, but we all share a goal. Founders of traditions try to ease the pain, live into the answers. The questions stay the same.
Good morning. Live into the questions. I have a wonderful story for you this morning that I'd like to share that is about exactly that. And I think you'll see that as we go on. It's the three questions. It's written and illustrated by John J. Muth, and it's based on a story by Leo Tolstoy. There once was a boy named Nikolai who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. I want to be a good person, he told his friends, but I don't always know the best way to do that. Nikolai's friends understood and they wanted to help him. If only I could find the answers to my 3 questions, Nikolai continued, then I would always know what to do. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do? Nikolai's friends considered his first question, and then Sonia the heron spoke. To know the best time to do things, one must plan in advance, she said. Gogol, the monkey, who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, you will know when to do things if you watch and pay close attention. But then Pushkin, the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, you can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to keep watch and help you decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, a coconut is about to fall on your head. Did you see that coconut that was about to fall on Gogol's head? I don't think Gogol sees it. Nikolai thought for a moment, and then he asked his second question. Who is the most important one? Those who are closest to heaven, said Sonia, circling up into the sky. Those who know how to heal the sick, said Gogol, stroking his bruised noggin. Those who make the rules, growled Pushkin. Nikolai thought some more, and then he asked the third question. What is the right thing to do? Flying, said Sonia. Having fun all the time, laughed Gogol. Fighting, barked Pushkin right away. And the boy thought for a long while. He loved his friends. He knew they were all trying their best to help him answer his questions, but their answers didn't seem quite right. Then an idea came to him. I know, he thought. I will ask Leo the turtle. He has lived a very long time. Surely he will know the answers I am looking for. Nikolai hiked high up into the mountains where the old turtle lived all alone. When Nikolai arrived, he found Leo digging a garden. The turtle was old, and digging was hard for him. Leo listened carefully, but he only smiled. Then he went on with his digging. You must be tired, Nikolai said at last. Let me help you. The turtle gave him a shovel and thanked him. And because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was for an old turtle, Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and rain burst from the darkened clouds. As they moved toward the cottage for shelter, Nikolai suddenly heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been injured by a fallen tree. And there's the poor panda. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house and made a splint for her leg with a stick of bamboo. The storm raged on, banging at the doors and windows. The panda woke up. Where am I? She said. And where is my child? Excuse me. The fun of reading stories on Zoom. The boy ran out of the cottage and down the path. The roar of the storm was deafening. Pushing against the howling wind and drenching rain, he ran farther into the forest. And there he found the panda's child, cold and shivering on the ground. The little panda was wet and scared. Nikolai carried her inside and made her warm and dry. and then he laid her in her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. And look, he brings him some hot tea or cocoa. I'm not sure what turtles would serve, but he's being very kind to the boy. Next morning, the sun was warm, the birds sang, and all was well with the world. The panda's leg was healing nicely, and she thanked Nikolai for saving her and her baby from the storm. In the meantime, Sonia and Gogol and Pushkin arrived to make sure everyone was all right. Nikolai felt great peace within himself. He had wonderful friends, and he had saved the panda and her child. But he also felt disappointed. He still had not found the answers to his 3 questions. So he asked Leo one more time. The old turtle looked at the boy. "But your questions have been answered," he said. "They have?" asked the boy. "Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig my garden, you wouldn't have heard the panda's cries for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time you spent digging the garden. The most important one at that moment was me, and the most important thing to do was to help me with my garden. But later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby, and the most important thing to do was to take care of them and make them safe. Remember, then, that there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is always the one you're with, and the most important thing is to do good for the one who is standing at your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in this world." That's the end. Barbara, you're muted.
Thank you, Miss Susan. In a 1903 letter to his 19-year-old cadet and budding poet protege, Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms or like books that are written in a foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them." And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. Sounds a bit like what happened to Nikolai. Paul Tillich, who was a German-American Christian existentialist philosopher and widely regarded as one of the most influential theologians of the 20th century, wrote, "Grace strikes us when we are in great pain and restlessness. It strikes us when we walk through the dark valley of a meaningless or empty life. It strikes us when we feel our separation is deeper than usual because we violated another life, a life which we love or from which we were estranged. It strikes us when our disgust for our own being, our indifference, our weakness, our hostility, or our lack of direction and composure has become intolerable to us. And I would add to that, not having the answers that we want. It strikes us when year after year, the longed for perfection of life does not appear. When the old compulsions reign within us as they have for decades, when despair destroys all joy and courage, sometimes at that moment, a wave of light breaks into our darkness. And it is as though a voice were saying, "You are accepted. You are accepted by that which is greater than you, and the name of which you do not know." If that happens to us, we experience grace. After such an experience, we may not be better than before, and we may not believe more than before, but everything is transformed. This is adapted from Katie Kandarian Morris. God of many names and beyond our naming and understanding, in your mystery, are you also personal? We've come to a quiet time, an interior place, a place for the deepening of spirit, the enrichment of soul. We seek to know ourselves by knowing you. May we have the courage to sit in the unknowing. All that we have not yet come to understand, as well as all we may never comprehend, are there to look for with and at any answers, and there look for with and at any answers, even if they are to sit with our own questions. May we have the courage and willingness to be authentic with ourselves, to be ready to bring our genuine face with the wonder and vulnerability of puzzles unsolved to the world, and there welcome the genuine features of others to the world. By appreciating the beauty that comes from seeing wholeness and truth, we encounter the perfection in paradox and the wisdom within the ineffable and unknowable. Let us sit in that quiet depth. Feel your heart beating. Listen to your own breathing for a minute. Notice that the universe breathes through you. Feel the eyes of life looking at you, your innermost self. And feel that spacious, expansive, vibrant spirit of existence as it considers the world from within you. For this hour, with no other answers, let that be enough. In the Rilke quote that I shared a little earlier, the last two sentences were, live the questions now, perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. Live the questions, then maybe someday you'll live into the answer. I see where just 4 years ago on Reddit, people were asking if the phrasal verb live into was a new form of usage. One commenter found the Rilke quote, and just for the record, Rilke died in 1926. Another hated the phrase on site and called it jargony. It's kind of fun to hear that word someplace other than one of our hymns. I'm not sure what kind of timeline new has when we're talking about language and linguistics. But they were right in that the phrasal form live into hasn't made it to the standard dictionaries yet. You can find live, live through, live on, live off, live out, but so far, no live into. I'm quite sure that in the early 2000s, when I wrote the song that was our opening hymn today, I was inspired by the Rilke quote. The lyric says, live into the answers, the questions stay the same. But is that true? Do the questions stay the same? The song was written for the children's study block in world religions. Religion, as I thought about it then, was intended to address the big questions. What's it all about? Why are we here? Where did we come from? What happens when you die? How shall or ought we to live? Miss Susan shared some other big questions in the story. But aren't the questions that are most pressing for us in any given circumstance changing all the time? I mean, we may have questions that gnaw at us, like, how could anybody honestly believe that? Or as we worry about careers, happiness, the climate, the end of COVID, the ongoing struggles for freedom, voting, peace, safety, water, clean water, food, we may repeatedly encounter the question, to paraphrase Dag Hammarskjöld, will we ever get there? There's a 1976 Presbyterian hymn called Live into Hope. This is the first two lines of the first three stanzas. Live into hope of captives freed, of sight regained, the end of greed. Live into hope, the blind shall see with insight and with clarity. Live into hope of liberty, the right to speak, the right to be. But in the moment, those puzzling and often unsettling questions, even if they drive career choices or daily activities, frequently get shifted to the back burner behind, do we have some food? Or enough money to pay the bills? Or when can I get this urgent thing tended to? How do we get from this place to that? How do I tell him, her, they about this or that? Did I feed the cat, dog, children? Can I stop in time to get before I get to this intersection, or do I have time to get through this intersection? It's kind of hard to think about what's going on with the planet and our neighbors when we're in our lives and in the moment, if we aren't somehow holding the moment with us. Greg Githens, who works at helping groups think strategically, said the phrase "live into" is uncommon in English. It's used to signify a person's commitment to an idea. So what ideas are we committed to such that we are living into them? In his book, The Courage to Create, Rollo May, who was an American existential humanist psychologist, wrote, "We're called upon to do something new, to confront a no man's land, to push into a forest where there are no well-worn paths, and from which no one has returned to guide us. To live into the future means to leap into the unknown, and this requires a degree of courage for which there is no immediate precedent, and which few people realize. Maybe the unknown we are called to leap into is about finding some new way of holding the big questions and the smaller questions in balance simultaneously. Opening enough of ourselves to be resonant with something expansive and still absolutely present and attending where we are. Framing the immediate questions in the context of the big questions so that the responses for one serve the other. Rilke said, try to love the questions. We can live the questions without being eaten up by them. Sometimes we can get ourselves pretty spun up over asking why, or who was responsible for that, or who ought to take care of that, or how, so that we lose sight in the next right thing to do and what we can do to address, repair, heal what is right in front of us, or support and cultivate or create what's needed. Some way to hold the big and small questions more effectively. They're all things we need to tend to. They're all things that deserve our care. They're all things that are part of our covenant with each other and building beloved community. Love the questions. We don't have to have all the answers right now. Be patient with what is unresolved in your heart. Some of the answers we cannot yet live because our understanding is not yet complete. We are still seeing through the glass dimly or darkly. Two goldfish were having a theological debate. One of them got frustrated and finally said, "Okay, then, if there's not a God, who changes the water?" If we think our perspective is any bigger than those goldfish in the bowl, we're a bit mistaken in a large context. Let's be happy with our unknowing. This old song is one that I'm hoping is enough of a classic that our younger members will also want to sing along. How many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? How many times must a cannonball fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? Yes, and how many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? How many deaths will it take till he knows? Too many people have died. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? Yes, and how many years can a people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can we turn our heads pretending we just don't see? The answers, my friend, are blown in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Some came here to this gathering to be blessed with answers in a tumultuous world. Let us hope too, however, that many of us have been blessed with questions to direct us with a clarity of mind to steer our logic towards kindness and justice always. What are we to do? How then shall we live? At the end of Monty Python's Meaning of Life, the presenter finally offers the meaning of life. Well, it's nothing very special. Try to be nice to people, avoid eating fat, read a good book every now and then, get some walking in, and try and live together in peace and harmony with people of all creeds and nations. Let's try to love the questions. Let us live into, by being committed to the answers that balance the big questions with the immediate context and the day-to-day. May each of you now go your ways, knowing not the answer to all things, yet seeking always the answer to one more thing than you know. Namaste, Ashe, may it be so. Blessed be. Go in peace. Hope to see you again really soon. Stay safe and hold people in your thoughts and prayers.